Hello, my name is Colin McNaughton. I'm a technical marketing manager for the Ansible Automation Platform here at Red Hat, and today I just wanted to show you something that I have assembled which will automatically build my execution environments for use with Ansible Automation Platform. So let's get started. All right, so here's my repository here, just under my personal account here called EE Builds. And what this is actually doing, this is in use today to build out execution environments for use within our own Ansible Automation Platform workshops. So each workshop type, it could be automating Windows or Red Hat Enterprise Linux or networking. And each one of those workshop types will have its own execution environment so that we know, so that we know our automation is going to be executing the same everywhere. And that's really the idea behind execution environments. These are container images with all of our dependencies bundled in so that we can leverage those collections and modules and plugins within our automation, within our Ansible playbooks. So really quickly, these execution environments are all packaged so that they're compatible with Ansible Builder. Now, Ansible Builder is a very nice way to create execution environments because it abstracts away a lot of the Podman or Docker build requirements files. So here, this is exactly what Ansible Builder is expecting. We have an execution environment definition file here, and then a couple of requirements files. Now, this requirements.txt is going to be Python requirements, and requirements.yaml, this will actually pull in the required collections to leverage within our automation. Now, requirements.txt for Python requirements, this would be for anything that's not specified within the collection itself. It is possible for collections to pull in their own external dependencies for whatever those modules need to leverage. But occasionally you'll run into a collection that doesn't have those Python dependencies set in the collection metadata. So that's why that's there. It's actually going to be completely empty in this one because the collections that I'm using already have that stuff bundled in. So anyway, let's take a look at the definition file for my execution environment. Now this is fairly straightforward. The first version of this execution environment, I'm layering it on top of an existing execution environment image that Red Hat currently builds. And this is called the EE Minimal based on RHEL 8 latest image. Now, EE Minimal or Execution Environment Minimal really just comes with Ansible Core. There's nothing else there. So I'm able to just have a blank slate where I can layer on top my dependencies. And that's what I do on lines 7 through 9 here. So I've called out my dependencies block. Again, I'm going to use this requirements YAML file to pull in any external dependencies. This could be from Galaxy, it could be Automation Hub, Private Automation Hub, etc. And then Python, again, I'm not using this, but it's a good placeholder just to kind of show you that you are able to pile on additional Python dependencies and build those into your execution environment image. Now, there's actually a third line that I could specify here, which is system level packages. But I haven't really built that out, and I have no need for additional system level packages. So there you are. This is a very simple execution environment definition file. It's called ServiceNow Execution Environment, which you can probably guess. I'm doing a lot of ServiceNow automation today, so this is where I'm working on. Unfortunately, while I'm starting to write my automation, I've realized I've left a glaring omission within my execution environment. So this is our demo scenario today. So you see that I have two collections here in my requirements.yaml file. Now the glaring omission here would be servicenow.itsm. Somehow I have created a ServiceNow execution environment without the ServiceNow collection, which is something that I'm going to need to correct right now before I can write my ServiceNow automation. So that's the demo scenario here. Now, I am doing all of this automatically, which is really nice for me. Anytime I make a change to that requirements YAML file or any file within ServiceNow EE directory, it's going to rebuild that image. So let's take a look at what makes that magic happen. In this use case, I've chosen GitHub Actions because it's really easy for me to get started. It's here, it works, it's fantastic. you can use, there's any flavor of continuous everything sort of tool sets that you could also be using, and you could really be leveraging Ansible Automation Platform controller as well for this. But as a content creator, as an automation content creator, I already have access to GitHub, and so this is sort of like a no-brainer for me. And this is where I can get started building my workflows. So these are sort of the actions that I've already configured here. You can see for each execution environment, it has its own workflow here. But let's go and take a look at the code view. Each one of these workflows are stored within .github workflows. And I have three workflows, well, four workflows here, but really three workflows that are building my three separate images. They all leverage a reusable workflow called deploy. So if I look at my ServiceNow EE build workflow, it kind of just has parameters to pass into the deploy workflow, so that I can reuse as much code as possible within that deploy workflow. So let's take this one apart here really quickly. It's called ServiceNow EE build. That's the name that will surface within that actions pane I just showed you. It's configured to run on a few triggers here. So first of all, it's going to run on pushes to the main branch. And it's also, so it's going to run on pushes to the main branch where modified files are within ServiceNow-EE. So this is, so that if there's a modification in my Windows execution environment, I don't really need to rebuild ServiceNow execution environment image. So I'm just checking, the file paths for anything modified within that push. I also have this running on a schedule, so you can see the cron syntax down here. And this is just going to run once on Sunday. Now, the third trigger that I have set up here is a workflow dispatch. This means that if I go over to my action pane, I can run this workflow whenever I want, regardless of whether or not changes were pushed to the main branch within this directory. So this is really handy. Say if I wanted to run a workflow on a separate branch within this repository, separate from main, I could do something like that. Or if I just want to trigger a new build at any time, I can do that as well. Now, this is, the sort of the meat of the workflow right here. So a workflow is made up of one or more jobs that can run sequentially or in parallel. And for this workflow, I have just one job. It's called call workflow deploy. And all it's doing is calling that reusable workflow that I already have and passing in some things about this execution environment build, some things that make it unique. So for instance, here's the name of the folder where my execution environment lives in. This is what I'm going to tag my image as. This is the user on Quay that I'm going to push this image to. And finally, I need to access some secrets here, right? So I have some dependencies, ServiceNow.itsm, for example, that needs to be resolved from Automation Hub that is only accessible to Red Hat Ansible Automation Platform subscribers. Now, of course, I don't want to expose my secrets, so I've added them into my deploy environment, which I'll show off in a moment here. But I'm passing these secrets to the reusable workflow deploy.yaml on main. So let's take a look at deploy.yaml. Now, this is also fairly straightforward. First I'm defining everything that can be passed in here, all of these inputs and secrets. This is a reusable workflow, so much like I had on push or on workflow dispatch, I have a workflow call here, which basically just designates that this is a reusable workflow, and these are some of the inputs that can be supplied to this workflow. Now, if I scroll down, you'll see again, I have this is where I'm starting out my jobs configuration. I've specified here how I want to, I'm specifying here one single job called build. It's running on Ubuntu latest, and it's running within this environment I've created called deploy. Now, this is really important for me. This is where all my secrets live, right? What I've found out about these environments is that I can also kind of create rules for when these secrets can be deployed or used within this environment. So I can designate required viewers and say, before this deployment can actually happen within this environment, I need to specify somebody to review this and grant access. I can, put wait timers on there as well. But one thing I have set here is that these secrets can only be used within this environment from the main branch. So it kind of does a great job of locking down access to these secrets. And instead of applying or making secrets available to every repository or from my user account or different wherever we can designate secrets along the way in GitHub. But I kind of like this because I can delete this environment and my secrets go with it, and I have to expressly give away permission to access these environment secrets. So that's just a quick note there. Let's go back to my code. Okay, so this is running in the deploy environment. First thing it's going to do, now each job can have multiple steps, so that's where you see this step. So in this one job, all steps begin with name, so it's fairly easy to read. I have a checkout repo step. Then I'm going to install my Python requirements. This is also a requirements text file at the root of this repository, and the only thing in there, spoiler alert, is Ansible Builder. Next, I'm going to log into Quay. This is where these secrets are coming in handy, right? I don't have plain text users and passwords, and I'm not reaching out to any other, external secrets management. I'm just leveraging the environment secrets I've already configured. From there, I'm going to log into registry.redhat.io, and finally, I'm going to build that image. So this is using Ansible Builder, which was installed as sort of the setup for my workflow here. It's setting the working directory to the name, the input name of EE folder name, which was, if you remember back to ServiceNow -ee.yaml, I specified that as an input for this reusable workflow. From there, it's going to build it out with a single tag. It's going to actually give the image the name of the EE folder name, right? And then it's going to tag it with that EE image tag that we also specified in my ServiceNow workflow. After that, it's going to push it to Quay. Again, I'm using my secrets here, so I'm not divulging anything. If you fork this repository, you don't have access to my secrets. That's also a nice thing. And then finally, I will print the image URL, and this is the place on Quay that I will be able to locate this image and verify that it made it up there. Okay, so let's go back really quickly and reset up our demo scenario. So if I go back to ServiceNow-EE, remember within my requirements file, I'm missing ServiceNow.itsm, which will allow me to leverage those ServiceNow modules within my automation. So let's go over here on my terminal. I'm going to do podman images to show exactly which images I have already pulled down. So I have two EEs here. It looks like my ServiceNow EE was created about 43 hours ago. And let's verify that collection isn't there, that ServiceNow.itsm collection. So to do that, I'm going to be using Ansible Navigator. Ansible Navigator is used by the automation creator to test automation and also inspect the local environment. So the way I just did Podman images, I can also do Ansible Navigator images with a subcommand images. And there it is, ServiceNow EE is listed as my primary execution environment image. If I press the line number corresponding to that image, I can get additional information here. Now, excuse me, my terminal is printing some strange characters here, something in my environment that I need to fix. But here we have the ability to inspect general information. But what I really want to see here, what version of Ansible am I running and what collections do I have available to leverage within my automation? So I've pressed the 2 key. Okay, here we go. This is exactly what I was expecting, right? So under collections, I only have Ansible POSIX and Ansible utils. That is the same as in my requirements file over here. And you can also see that I'm running 211 core. Another cool thing about Ansible Navigator, if that wasn't easy enough to inspect just a specific execution environment, I can also run the collections subcommand here. Now this will pull out all collections present within my primary execution environment, which I have set to ServiceNow-EE. And there again, you can see both of those collections. Only those 2 collections are in here. So that's a problem for me when I'm trying to run ServiceNow automation. What I'm going to do, just before we continue here, I'm going to remove all of my existing execution environments, and I'm going to do that using podman rmi -- all. Once this is done, I'm going to run podman images again. Okay, and it's all empty. If I wanted to, I could also do Ansible. Well, I don't want to do that because it will pull down my execution environment again, and then I'll just have to delete it again. All right, so let's go back to my repository here. So again, I'm missing a collection here. I'm going to go ahead and just modify this file really quickly. Normally I would use something like github.dev here, but this is just a one-line change, and I can just do servicenow.itsm. We'll say adding ServiceNow collection. Thanks. I like to be polite. Okay, so you can see my commit has processed, and my push is processed, adding ServiceNow collection. We've added ServiceNow.itsm. If I go over to actions now, hopefully I see, there we go, look at that. Adding ServiceNow collection, thanks. That's my commit message there. If I click on it, you'll see that this now is running my workflow. I can further click into here and see exactly what it's doing. So you can see it has already installed Ansible Builder just by using pip install r requirements. It's logged into Quay. Fantastic. You can see that none of my password or username has been exposed here because I'm using secrets. So I've logged into Quay, I've logged into registry.redhat.io, and there we go. I'm building my image. So this, it's been elapsed for about 40 seconds. This can take, for this process and this particular image, as long as 3 minutes. So I'm going to speed up the video here. Okay, look at that. The build was complete. You can see the podman build command that I have running here. And now it's pushing to Quay. Now, I've picked Quay for this just as sort of like a development staging area for my own purposes. I already have access to Quay. Quay is, using security scanning on all of my images. So if I go over here, I can check out like the tag history. You can see November 4th, that's today's date, 10:28 Eastern time over here. This is a good way just to verify that the image made it over to Quay. I can also take a look at that step that I had, which prints out the URL. So I could also go to Quay.io, ServiceNow EE latest, and pull that up as well. Okay, so that looks great to me. Let's go over and verify, right? So remember, I have no images over here. We'll just run podman images again. Now, if I run Ansible Navigator, this should pull down ServiceNow EE. Yeah, there it is. So execution environment, ServiceNow EE latest. So let's take a look at images first. Should only be one, right? Yep, there it is, ServiceNow EE primary. We'll inspect this one image. We'll look at the Ansible version and collections, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we see ServiceNow.itsm. There it is. Okay, so now I have 3 collections instead of just 2. Now I can go straight in and leverage the plugins within this collection. And to do that, just really quickly, again, I can run collections. There's that ServiceNow ITSM. I can press the number 2 for that line number for ServiceNow ITSM. And there are all the plugins. I can go in, so say if I needed to create a new incident within my ServiceNow instance, I can go to the incident module, press number 5. From here, I can take a look through all of the different documentation, the authors, and all of that, the upstream repositories, or where I can find the source for this and file issues. I can also issue some templating command here. So bottom left corner is where I'm typing. I'm going to type out examples. And now I can see exactly how to use this module as well. So very cool. Ansible Builder created my new execution environment image. Ansible Navigator allowed me to inspect what was present within that image, and GitHub Actions allows me to automate the entire process of creating these execution environments on a Git event. So absolutely, check out Ansible Navigator, Ansible Builder, see how you can create your own execution environments for your organization. I think next time if I was, showing this off in a demonstration for an organization, I would probably be using Private Automation Hub as my container registry for execution environments. But again, I'm kind of using Quay as sort of a staging area. I could also have used just any other registry. One last cool thing that I'll point out here is within my workflows, I can also use shared actions. So I didn't have to write most of this stuff. You see, this is a shared action from GitHub. They wrote checkout v2. Red Hat wrote this action, which allows me to log into a registry. And so when I say this could have just been any registry, it truly could have. I can leverage this action here to push and log in and push to any registry. You can see down here I'm using Red Hat Actions push to registry. So that's it for me. This is a proof of concept of automatically building execution environments for use with Ansible Automation Platform 2. Thank you very much.